and Asia.
They risk being left behind as the rest of our countries develop and grow. And of course, this is not just about getting kids into school, because as my colleague Sandra said earlier, sitting in a classroom is not the same thing as learning in a classroom. 250 million children around the world today are not learning basic reading and basic mathematics, even though they've spent 4 years in school. This is a global learning crisis, and it's costing developing countries billions of dollars every year in wasted education funding, paying for those school places and those teachers for kids who are not learning. Perhaps even more seriously, this learning crisis is denying those children the chance to learn what they need in order to realize their potential in their societies. And we know that if we get this right, it is transformative. With the right education, things really change. Kids from educated mothers are twice as likely to live beyond the age of 5. Every extra school year that we give girls increases their future earnings by 10 to 20%, every year by 10 to 20%. Gender equality, it is said, could add $12 trillion a year to the world economy. Now, the whole economy of sub-Saharan Africa is under $3 trillion. So take 4 Africas and add those to the global economy, and that's what we get if we empower our women and our girls. So these are the reasons why this matters so much to the British government, why we are investing over $1 billion in girls' education through the Girls' Education Challenge alone, the biggest programme of any country anywhere in the world to educate our young women. And, Cabinet Secretary, your leadership in this, if you'll let me say so, is transformational and hugely important. I think many of you will know that we, the UK and Kenya, led by the Cabinet Secretary, have established a global platform for girls' education, co-chaired by the British Foreign Minister and the Kenyan Cabinet Secretary, Amina Mohamed. This is about bringing together a small, highly committed group of leaders to foster change, to support countries, to make commitments to unlock those 12 years of quality education for girls by 2030. Now, we say by 2030, and it sounds a long time away. It's only 12 years away. And a lot of hard work is needed between now and then to realize our goals. But let's look at what's already happening here in Kenya, at the trails that are being blazed on girls' education. As you said, Cabinet Secretary, last year at the platform, this is a moral imperative and it's smart economics. And Kenya is leading the way. Kenya is supporting girls who've had children to go back to school, giving them a second chance. It's outlawing and preventing and tackling genital cutting of young women and girls. It's providing free primary and secondary education, providing sanitary products that help girls manage their menstruation and stay in school, tackling those 3.5 million days every year, I think you told me, CS, that are lost to girls in school in Kenya if they cannot manage their menstruation. And the rewards are already coming. 94% of female Kenyans are literate. Now that compares to somewhere in the 70s in Tanzania, somewhere in the 50% in Ethiopia. So you are already seeing the results of this investment. Kenya is ahead of the East African pack, thanks to the leadership that you and your predecessors, CS, have shown. So the programme we're launching today is about tackling the most marginalised and the most excluded, because even with those impressive numbers, those great examples of leadership, girls are being left behind, and it is our responsibility to ensure that that does not happen. These are girls that live in nomadic communities or in the arid and isolated Somali border counties, where although many girls, the great proportion of girls across Kenya transition to secondary school, in those places Less than a third of those who transition to secondary school are girls. Most are falling out. These are girls that don't make it back to school after pregnancy or who are forced into unwanted early marriage. It's those girls that are being left behind and that we want to tackle with this new programme today. So, as we've heard, in partnership with ActionAid, in collaboration with VSO and Leonard Cheshire, this new programme will support 5,500 out-of-school girls and boys over the next 4.5 years to access education. More than a third of that number will be kids with disabilities. And we will aim to ensure that they benefit from assistive devices and from learning tailored to their needs. Both of my parents were special needs teachers, and this is something that personally is enormously close to my heart. So I will be following very closely how we adapt our offer through this programme to make sure that those disabled kids, those with learning disabilities, are reached and are empowered and educated. We know, because we keep checking, that these interventions work. There's a very strong learning component of the Girls' Education Challenge, and we have learnt important lessons from that already. We will learn more as we implement this new programme. We know that when we tackle the financial barriers to education, it works. It increases enrolment, it increases attendance. We know when we put together girls' clubs, they raise girls' hopes. They raise their ambitions for themselves. We know that a simple intervention like a solar lamp in a house without power increases a girl's study time after the night falls every day and helps her learn better. So we know that many things work. We also know that many things are needed to make this work. Not one single magic bullet, but a sustained partnership through time. So this new project, Education for Life, this is not just going to educate these 5,500 kids. It is going to add to that learning, to that knowledge base, and I hope, therefore, to inform even more of our programming into the future. I'm really proud, Cabinet Secretary, to be your partner on behalf of the British government in this Girls' Education Challenge in Kenya. We have built, as we saw in Sandra's slide earlier, hundreds of schools and classrooms, trained tens of thousands of teachers, worked in partnership with your ministry and the United States Aid Agency to deliver to Some, provided cash transfers to help kids attend school. And as has been remarked, and this is a matter of great pride to me and my government, Kenya is now our biggest partner globally for this important work. We've spent 8 billion shillings already in the first phase of girls' education here in Kenya to deliver those results. We have supported, as we've heard, 670,000 girls through this programme, and we are committed to supporting many more. This next phase is worth 15 billion shillings. It will touch 350,000 Kenyan girls, and it will make an enormous difference to their lives, to the lives of Kenya, and to the development and prosperity of our world. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Now it's my humble duty to invite